when you are younger and you experience a trauma, what you learn usually about executive function under distress, especially when there's very little that your executive functioning is capable of at that point in your life, what you learn is how to repress, to avoid. Think about how often, either in your life or the lives of people you know, all you really learn how to do is tiptoe around the emotions of adults and not trigger them. My sadness triggers you. My anger triggers you. So all I'm learning to do is deny myself my own healthy emotion in order to accommodate your emotional needs. How many times do young people who have gone through significant trauma learn to shut themselves down so that adults who are unhealed can function? What the adolescent years provides us is an opportunity to recalibrate. Identity development requires adolescents to integrate past experiences into a coherent self-narrative. This is critical. Past experiences into a coherent self-narrative. So the question then becomes, what do those experiences teach me to say about myself? What do those experiences teach me about myself? How do I define myself to me and project that version of me to the world? How does trauma get integrated into who I am? Here's what we know. If you repress it, not in healthy ways. If you deny it, not in healthy ways. If you avoid it, not in healthy ways. I've met many adults who have ways that they protect themselves, defense mechanisms that they don't even know are defense mechanisms. They just see that as identity. In fact, they'll describe them to you in positive ways. I don't need no man. All these people out here, man, I don't need anybody. I can survive on my own. No one will ever get to hurt me because no one will ever get to know me because I will never put myself out there enough for someone to be capable of hurting me. I am so strong. These are the types of things that sometimes people say and project, not because they're healed, but because they never healed. And they don't even know that they're spouting defense mechanisms at you because for them, it's just become identity. You're never going to be hurt. Maybe, but you're never going to be loved because love requires vulnerability. Love requires self-acceptance. It requires the ability to accept other people as who they are. And while you're walking around projecting a myth, you're not living. You're surviving. And those defense mechanisms that you developed probably pretty early in life helped you cope with whatever you needed to cope with then. But how are they serving you now? How's your sleep? How's your overall health? How are your relationships? How's your mood? All of these things matter, but if we're not given the opportunity to use adolescence the way it is intended to be used, to develop a coherent, healthy, complete, continuous sense of self, because we are locked into the traumas of our past, I guess that's one way to live a life, but it's probably not the one that most of us dreamed of when we were kids, hoped for, thought about. Trauma can dominate your narrative, but it doesn't have to. That's the point. It can dominate the story, and it typically does for those who don't even know It's still part of their story. I've got to slow down here because to me, this is the crux of the point I want to make. You don't even know that you're still dealing with your trauma, but everybody else who knows you, they know. Think about this in real life. Think about the people you know. They themselves might think not only are they potentially over their trauma, don't even acknowledge it, but for you who has to relate to them, be in relationship with them, it is like it's dripping off of them. You understand what I'm saying? Do you have examples of this in your life? In fact, there are so many people out here wounding other people with their trauma that they themselves do not admit to themselves that they have. And if you can't admit it to yourself, you certainly can't admit it to another person. And if you can't admit it to yourself or to another person, you're certainly not working on it. You're certainly not trying to become better in relationship to it. And if you've missed your window, that adolescence window, it's even harder because now these ingrained habits have become your identity. Trauma is dominating your narrative. And when trauma dominates your narrative, it can do a couple of things. For example, number one, it can lead to overgeneralized self-definitions. I'm broken. I'm a problem. I can never be any other version of the self you see today. In other words, it's the opposite of a growth mindset. I am fixed. And the me that is fixed is bad. It is so beautiful when I see a young person in adolescence develop what we call a growth mindset. You know what a growth mindset is? Have you heard about it? What's a growth mindset? I am excited about this topic, even though for some it's a hard topic. The reason why I am so excited about it is what I've already told you on that very first day of class, that adolescence is a developmental hinge point. It's the difference between saying, I am not capable of doing this thing, or I've diverted resources toward other things, and so I'm struggling in this thing. But if I divert resources back toward this other thing, then I might be able to have success in it. It is a beautiful revelation that adolescents can sometimes come to because their cognitive development allows them to see things in more abstract ways. There is nothing finite. There is nothing black or white. We live in the gray. And you can appreciate that in a way that you couldn't before.